Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Ketroc taking on SharpenedEdge, giving us a warning there, sharp edge / point hazard. And SharpenedEdge definitely is a hazardous Protoss bot. It's got some very good fundamentals to it. And yeah, I think it should be a fair opponent for Ketroc, as these two bots are both very interesting. Like, some of their strategies are a little bit out there, but so I figure these two should lead to an interesting game. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead, click that like button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot games, and then go ahead and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, as I put out daily bot videos. And I think it's safe to say that I'm the only YouTube channel that does have daily bot matches. So yeah, if you want to support that, click that sub button, leave a comment down below saying more bots if you do want to see more of these bot games. And yeah, I do notice a bit of an interesting thing about SharpenedEdge, but I think it makes sense from a design point of view, is that it took its two gases way earlier than it actually starting to mine gas. So in a way, that is some wasted money, because, I mean, it took the gas but wasn't mining out of it. Now, you do have to account for the speed mining, which changes the eco timings. Maybe SharpenedEdge didn't have anything else that it wanted to spend that money on. For now, though, we do have Ketroc going for double factory. It announced mech all in at the start of the game, where SharpenedEdge, I get a feeling it's going to be going for some Tempest, as it is a bit of a known Tempest rusher. Now, the one weakness I will say that this Protoss bot does have is that it likes to wait, or well, it doesn't like to, but it floats a lot of minerals when it goes for these gas-intensive builds, and that problem is just made even worse by speed mining. So, for example, right now, it's got the money. It could throw up 2 additional Nexus right now, and yet it doesn't, I think, just because the way the build is structured. It probably won't expand until that Stargate is done, which in my opinion is something that could potentially be improved in SharpenedEdge. And let's see, we've got SharpenedEdge saying build rush Tempest, and this could be concerning for Ketroc, as double siege tanks are on the way, which is a very big investment, as it's planning on just going for this mech all in. Tanks going to be backed up by some Marines, as it is a 1 base against a 1 base. Then SharpenedEdge changes its tag, says rush macro, which is interesting, as we've yet to see any sort of significant macro from it. Saving up a ridiculous amount of minerals, and then going for, well, saving up its chrono boost as well, because presumably it wants to chrono boost out as many Tempest as possible. Ketroc, meanwhile, is going for a couple of extra siege tanks. This is going to be a really interesting dynamic, because I'm not sure when Ketroc is going to attack, but it seems like it's just going to be now. And that means that SharpenedEdge is only going to really have 1 Tempest to respond to this. This probe is about to have its life be ended by that siege tank as it disappears. Now, Ketroc has no idea that it's up against a Tempest rush. Neither of these bots have scouted, which is a notable design point. They are probably some of the better bots that don't scout. Well, SharpenedEdge did scout, but Ketroc did not. As the Red Terran bot is moving across the map, and then SharpenedEdge is looking to throw up a Nexus, but I do find it a little odd, the Nexus timing in this build. I think it could really use some refinement from SharpenedEdge, in that Nexus could have been built 10 minutes ago, and, well, not 10 minutes ago, it could have been built like 2 minutes ago, and then it wouldn't have really affected the build. The Marines of Ketroc are afraid to attack the Tempest, and so they're kind of just buffering for now, and that they're buying time. The SCVs repairing the tanks, going to try and repair that Hellion, presumably, will be sort of just absorbing damage, potentially giving Ketroc time to get up Vikings. However, there has yet to be a single starport produced, so while Ketroc says conditional Viking production started, there is no such Vikings being made. So despite the not most optimized build from SharpenedEdge, it's still a very, very hard counter to what Ketroc is going for, as the Terran bot, like, it's got Marines which can shoot the Tempest, but whatever calculation goes on there, it is respecting the Tempest too much in a situation like this, which is understandable. It's a very niche case, but man, oh man, if this push was going up against a regular Protoss build, like, it would be really, really strong. Now, the question is, will Ketroc ever transition out of this? It's getting +1 attack. At some point, presumably, there will be a trigger for Ketroc to say, okay, the rush has failed, let's go home. That may be it losing all of its tanks or all its SCVs or just a set amount of time. But all in all, this is very, very concerning as the Tempest count continues to grow. SharpenedEdge does have that natural base, mining happily. And then we do have Blink on the way as well. Ketroc does go for a Thor, which definitely can be an answer to a Tempest. Like, Thors are very, very good against Tempest in this day and age, as they actually have as much anti-air range, maybe even more. I believe it's a little bit more, because the Tempests have to come into range of the Thor in order to actually kill a Thor. The tanks are all going down, though. A couple of Hellions and Marines do pick off a few of the Zealots that SharpenedEdge has invested in, but Ketroc is still just one-basing it, trying to produce as much as possible, dropping mules, and it will have +1 attack, which is going to be significant. We're also getting high-sec auto-tracking, which, hey, I guess that'll help out the turret, singular, as this one Thor is going to have its work cut out for it in order to deal with these Tempests, but it's a very realistic possibility that Ketroc will be able to defend this, as a Thor with a bit of repair, potentially with this +1 attack, will be massive when it comes to defending this. Ketroc can just see the Tempest on the edge there. The Thor has yet to walk forward and potentially try and fight that, as the Red Terran bot just continues to build up its army. I guess it's not feeling confident enough to fight the Tempest. I mean, the Tempest aren't that big of a threat for the Thor. The concern is all these Zealots on the ground. SharpenedEdge is moving forward, though. The armory of Ketroc is being worked on. The Thor is acting as a giant door, as those Zealots do get gobbled up. Ketroc now has the Thor in range of the Tempest. It gets one shot off, but it does seem like Ketroc's engagement behavior is too afraid of these Tempest. It is firing off like the odd shot, thanks to that very high range of the Thor. We see that 11 range anti-air, as it does keep popping off on these Tempests. The +1 attack definitely helping there. Ketroc does build a new armory in a different location, which is quite significant, as, I mean, it needs that armory if it's going to build more Thors, get more upgrades, produce really any significant mech units. As this Thor keeps shooting at the Tempest. So far, none of them have died, but it is trying its best. Still, though, this is quite concerning for Ketroc, as the Red Terran bot is really just contained. SharpenedEdge behind this is going up to 3 bases. Supply depots are being repaired. The Thor does get its first Tempest kill. It's got many more to go. However, it will have a Thor bro out in the future, as that is producing for Ketroc. All the Hellions have died. But the Thor may be able to save some of the Marines. Injured Tempests do get pulled back, but the Thor is moving back and forth. A very interesting engagement here. You can see how these two bots have different programming as far as how to engage, how aggressive to be. The main base is breached according to Ketroc. The Thor deletes one of those Tempests. Another one is, well, they're all really low, so the Thor could very well get another one, and we shall see, and it does. So well done. The hero Thor for Ketroc just popping off, killing so many Tempests, 5 dead Tempests, and now this is getting out of hand, as there is 2 of them. Still, though, things are mighty concerning here for Ketroc, as the main base is eventually going to mine out. It has got only 21 SCVs, no expansion, but it's still just building more Thors. These SCVs do decide to long-distance mine, it seems, which I'm a big fan of. Long-distance mining in bots is very important because it's just a great way to keep your bot going. Even if it doesn't expand, it can still bring a bit of money in, and Ketroc needs all that money. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that Thor be repaired. +2 attack is on the way, and the third Thor is now out. So Ketroc is still just on its technical 1 base attack. Now SharpenedEdge is moving on out, going for another attack, this time with Blink Stalkers en masse. The SCVs of Ketroc are going to have to scatter here, as the red Terran bot is in a lot of trouble. Soon enough, that main base will be wholly mined out. Stalkers blink forward. There is a tank. Marines on the ground to buffer, though. These Thors staying alive is of the utmost importance to deal with those Tempests, and they're already starting with that. However, one of the Thors is very injured. SCVs came off the line to repair, but they are not repairing in time. Well, they're actually a little bit confused. And so I do think that SharpenedEdge will take this one. It's quite clear at this point, as Ketroc's build just was not it in order to make this happen. I would have loved a bit of repair on the Thors, but even so, there just wasn't going to be a victory here from Ketroc. And so, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, as we will have a little micro battle after this one, as it is a bit of a shorter match. Definitely an exciting one between these two, though. Well done by SharpenedEdge. Like, the unit control, the builds of SharpenedEdge are quite good. I think there definitely is room for more efficiency. I'm sort of torn about whether to keep harping on it, because I know SharpenedEdge doesn't get updated super duper frequently, and that it is something that, like, who knows, it might require an entire restructuring to fix, and of course the build still has success. But it's just one of those things. As a die-hard Starcraft player, there's almost a rule not to go above 400 minerals, because you should either be expanding or building units. Anyway, yeah, I'll do the spiel now. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Then we'll hop into that uninterrupted micro battle. And yeah, just big thanks to everyone that does support these daily casts by being a YouTube member. It goes a long, long way. And GG. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, into our micro battle. Let me know if you do like these micro battles in the comments down below, and I'll keep doing them. As we do have Bullbot losing lots of units to the Cyclones at the start of this engagement. However, it does corner quite a few of them. The numbers are a little concerning, though, because if 1 Cyclone equals 1 dead unit, that's a little rough for the Zerg. It is overkill lock-on by Memshark, though, so I think we are going to have the Zerg bot get the victory. A little surprisingly, because you look at this match and it's like 8 Cyclones against 9 Zerg units. If the Cyclones micro perfectly, they should just be able to kill the Zerg units at the same time. If there is counterplay by the Zerg bot, then there's the very real possibility that the Zerg bot can just perfectly pull its units back and keep them alive. So it is a very interesting matchup to see which one actually wins on paper. I think as far as simplicity goes, the Terran bot probably wins usually, but Memshark does let itself get cornered. That Cyclone is on lock-on. It does not put its, well, it puts itself in a corner and dies. So Bullbot does take the lead in this one. We've now got Hellions and Marauders against Lings and Roaches. Look at that mass clicking by Bullbot. The Hellions kiting back. The Marauders sort of charging forward, trying to be heroes, which is an interesting approach, and there is nothing left for Memshark that will kill these Roaches. So the Marauders really needed to retreat, and the Hellions to address the Lings. So things are really going well for Bullbot, which is currently the 2nd highest ranked bot there is. Memshark, we are seeing its programming of charge forward with the Marauders and be aggressive. That's how a lot of these bots are programmed, but in this specific match, that is not what you want, as the Zerg gets it has the better composition for charging forward. That one was a little closer, as Bullbot does take the victory, though. we've now got Marauders and Hellbats. So the Hellbats could be a little better at leading the charge in this one. The Zerg bot is pulling back, and then it decides to pull the trigger. Hellbats will cut up those lings. The Marauders, though, still are at the front, so that's a lot of damage done from the Terran bot. Medivacs are trying to heal these units up. Marauders aren't the quickest at killing Hydras, though, and so once again, the Zerg bot, I think, will take the victory. There's just not enough Terran units. And we have seen Marauders every one of these micro battles, so maybe it's just not Memshark's unit. We shall see. This time it's actually Hellions, not Hellbats, so that must actually be a bug in the micro battle unless they can be transformed, but I don't believe they can. So that is actually a bug at the rounds, I think. So I'll have to make sure to report that one. If you guys ever find bugs in anything, make sure to report them, because 9 times out of 10, the creator or the developer doesn't actually know about it. Let's see, great anti-armor missile for Memshark in this one, as it just deals with the Zerg units as they run on up, and those Zerg units get melted so quickly. So Memshark does put one on the board once again. It is just holding position with these tanks. One tank does unsiege at an unopportune time. Double anti-armor missile, though, is enough to coat all these Zerg units in Dorito dust. And that is Memshark cleaning that round easily. This time we've got some spellcasters. There is a ghost for Memshark. Will we see an EMP? Yes, we do. Double EMP hits one Infester. There is a fungal growth from the second Infester, though, so this one's looking a little closer. The tanks are actually soaking a lot of the damage while the bio stays alive, though, so well done to Bullbot, able to win that round. Yeah, just remove Marauders from the equation, and Bullbot does a little better. This time, the army actually engaged a little differently from Bullbot. Infester uses a Neural Parasite on a siege tank. That is so sick from Bullbot. Double Neural Parasites on the tanks. It's only Infestors and the tanks left. How does this work? Oh, the Neural Parasite runs out as Bullbot does still take it from the earlier rounds.